live today here on iHeartRadio and also AMFM247.com. That button doesn't work. Damn it. Tune in, iTunes, Radio Loyalty. We are going to get to our next guest here on our big program here in just a few moments. And we want to talk to you about Janet Devlin. We're going to be talking to her here today, here on our program. So as we do that, let's go to the old Skype, the old Skype-a-rooney, and pull up Janet Devlin. Janet Devlin is going to be with us here in just a few moments. And I believe we may have Janet Devlin with us. Janet, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good, actually. We've got Janet Devlin with us today. She joins us live here on a broadcast, and she is releasing a long-awaited concept album, Confessional, and also an autobiography, My Confessional. And she joins us today here via the magic of Skype. And welcome to the program. How are you, my friend?
I'm so good, thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good, actually. So Janet, how did you get started doing the music thing?
Oh my God, I have just always done it. Maybe I only really started singing though when I was about 12. But like I used to play tin whistle and fiddle in a ceilidh band.
Awesome.
So that's like an Irish traditional band, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Which just I don't know. It was always a part of my life. That led to singing, which led to me learning how to play drums, which led to starting a YouTube channel, which led to television, which led to an independent music career.
Fantastic. Janet Devlin with us today. She joins us live here on our broadcast. And so what was the idea behind going from one to the other and eventually settling in on the music career?
I just never thought that a music career would be a thing. I just didn't think people would ever care. But when I left TV, I was like, well, I may as well give it my best shot. I may as well see what happens and try my gosh darn hardest to make it work. And that's kind of how I do every single day. I'm just like, right, someday people aren't going to care, but right now, apparently enough do, that we can kind of keep on doing this. So yeah, it's literally just been an everyday blessing, but an everyday surprise.
That's awesome. Janet Devlin with us today. She joins us live here on Skype. And so the idea behind your music, where do you take your inspiration from? Who are some of your musical heroes?
Oh, gosh. I find that really hard to explain because I listened to a lot of country music growing up, but I also listened to quite a lot of heavy metal. And I don't think there's a lot of heavy metal influence there in my little Celtic pop album.
That's awesome, no.
Yeah, I do a lot of Olympic weightlifting, so I need to listen to aggressive stuff to make me lift heavier, you know.
That's awesome. We have got Janet Devlin with us today. You just do a little bit of everything. I think that's pretty freaking cool. So I guess we'll start back with all this stuff when you were doing YouTube and then eventually ended up on TV. What was the YouTube experience like?
So I still do YouTube to this day, actually. But when I started, it was because I was drumming a lot and I wanted a drum kit. And my parents were like, you're going to buy it. So I was like, okay, fine. So I entered all these singing competitions. I never won, but I placed. And that got me money. So then I saved up for this drum kit. But in that process, my best friend came to see me sing a lot. And she bought me a video camera and she was like, you have to upload covers on YouTube.
That's always how it starts.
Literally, yeah.
That's awesome. So you did these covers. The thing I've always wondered, and you're a cool chick, so I can ask this question and not come off like a perv. But what is the deal with all the really hot chicks, the perv magnets, uploading these YouTube cover things? I see more hot chicks on YouTube playing covers of things. Like there was a chick we interviewed years and years ago by the name of Metal Cohen, and she was huge on YouTube because she did drum covers. And I'm
Oh my
like,
God.
what is the deal with? Is it
I'm
just
sorry,
because?
I would simp over a hot woman playing drums.
And see, this is the thing. I think that's what it is. I think it's all these pervs, these guys, these girls, everybody, who are like,
Yeah.
well, you know, she's hot. I'm gonna watch her play drums.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what it is?
I was a child. I was 16, so I really hope that's not why people were watching me. That's creepy. Like, that's a bit inappropriate. But I don't know, actually. Like, I don't know about the hot people thing, but you got a good point there. I don't know.
It's
I'm
odd.
stumped, and I feel like we need to get somebody to do research into this and send me the findings so I can also just be like, wow, interesting. Phenomenon. You know?
Because it's so strange. Because I've interviewed a lot of musicians who that's become their career because they did guitar covers or they did the drum covers or whatever. And it's like,
fair enough. If you're getting bread from singing other people's stuff or drumming other people's stuff and you're hot, may as well rake it in while you can. You know? Like, you get that money, you know? Do it.
That's great.
Why not?
Janet Devlin with us today. She comes to us live here on Skype, and she has a brand new autobiography and also a music collection out there as well. Confessional is the latest from her. And so tell me a little bit about where your social media following is, because obviously you ended up getting a giant social media following off of this whole thing of YouTube and a television show to be able to get into the music world.
Yeah, well, it was a weird time. So I got loads after doing TV, obviously, but then they disappear because they're like TV fans. They're not like necessarily a fan of you. They're a fan more so of the television. So then in 2014, I started taking my YouTube channel seriously again, just because I loved it. I used to make silly videos with my best friend when we were really young and stuff. So I just wanted to do the music content, but also be my own editor and let people see more about me and my personality and stuff, because after doing TV, it was cool to share my life with people. So I said, I like doing this. So I edit and upload basically all of the videos on there. So it's fun. You feel very in control, and I love control. I'm a control freak. So I just like tried my best to keep the social media alive. But then recently I got sucked into TikTok like every other millennial. And I was like, oh, no. I'm not cool enough for this. Like, no one cares about me anymore. Because I always felt like my social media numbers were, like, left over from doing TV. So then I started doing TikTok, and no one cared, obviously. But then, like, basically overnight, like, my followers started going up 10,000 a day. So I'm now
wow. Holy smokes.
420,000 followers in, like, 2 months on TikTok. So I'm like, oh my God, this is the ego boost I needed, because I thought I was irrelevant, and you guys are really, making me feel good.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I mean, all I do is talk nonsense. Like, it's not even that I'm actually, it's vacuous, but I love it,
So TikTok is the thing now. Everybody's doing
Apparently.
this TikTok thing.
Well, I started it as a joke, just as a place where I could just have a fun time, because I didn't think anyone would care. So I just went full on, like, didn't soften my accent through wanting people to understand me or promote myself or anything. I just made stuff that I thought was funny. And then apparently other people did too. So for me, it's like a nice escape from like plugging a lot. It's just like a fun place where I can chat nonsense,
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on Skype. So, okay, you go from YouTube. How do you end up with the television show?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, X Factor that year were accepting video auditions. And my YouTube had started to get quite a good wee following going. Apparently, people were into 16-year-old girls singing cover songs. I don't know. So I decided, my mom was like, you should send in a video. And I was like, okay, I'll just send in the one that's got the most views. So I sent your song in. I got accepted. I had to fly out that weekend. And the whole time I was doing this whole experience, like, I wasn't treated any different or anything from anybody else. Like, I genuinely thought every stage I was going to get kicked out. So, to my shock, because I went on there, literally, this sounds terrible. I went on X Factor so that Simon Cowell could tell me that I couldn't sing, so then I could rub it in people's faces when they'd be like, "You should do singing." I was like,
That's
Simon
awesome.
Cowell, crap, actually. So
That's awesome. I went on there so you would tell him until he would bury me, and then then I could tell people,
No.
yeah, I'm garbage.
No.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, okay, so how did the experience did not go the way that you thought it was going to?
No, literally, me and my mum had a thing going where I wanted dreadlocks. I obviously realized that's not a good idea now, and that's like culturally insensitive. But at the time, I didn't know that. I was a child, and I lived in Ireland, and I didn't know. But I wanted dreadlocks.
Oh, who cares? If you want dreadlocks, get dreadlocks. I don't care.
Well, basically,
Good
what happened was I was
Lord.
like, "Mom, can I get dreadlocks?" And she's like, "If you don't get through an X Factor, you can have dreadlocks." I was like, "Sick, girls getting dreads." And obviously that didn't work out either. So, I mean, this is how much. And I remember sitting on the airplane to Miami doing my psychology homework and my English literature homework. And everybody else like off having a good time, having drinks. And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I've got to understand the human mind overnight."
That's awesome.
I was a nerd, though, so it was fine.
Janet Devlin with us today. You can get more information on her website, janetdevlin.com. And she is just phenomenal. This has definitely been a fun interview, and I'm glad that we've got plenty of material here to discuss. So you go from the TV show, and then you decide, well, let's do this music thing.
Yeah, I love music. Music was always a part of my life, but I just didn't think anyone would care. So when I left the show, I was offered loads of deals, but all of them were like, "Oh yeah, we'll have other people write your album. It's basically all written. You just sing it, and then on the next album you can write your own stuff." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." So like, milk me when people care, and then when they don't care, then I can do my own album. But you'll have dropped me before then. That's fine. So I decided against that. I was one of the early people on the crowdfunding bandwagon. Like, I was so early, I did interviews with CNN, being like, "Crowdfunding."
Look at that. That's awesome.
And I was sat there, and there was like cutaways to like people working for big major labels, and they were like, "No, it's never going to catch on." I'm like, "Okay, sure, fine." It did, but sure, whatever. So that's how early it was. But like, I got good support on that. Like, it was amazing. I think it was like Indie Breakers #1, and it did really well. And then I signed a deal in America, so I did a lot of promo out there, which, like, trust me, can like Daddy Trump just give me my green card, please? Thank you very much. I would very much appreciate it. I just want to live there. So that all went really well. I took 5 years to make this next album because I'm a bit of a basket case, and I had a lot of mental health issues. So like, I had to go get better and make this album at the same time. But I dropped loads of other music, lots of EPs and all that kind of stuff. I also had to write the book, which took basically 3 years. So it was a big endeavor, this next wee record that I did. But I love it. It's a lot though. It's basically my life in sonic form.
You mentioned, we've got Janet Devlin with us today. You mentioned that they just need you to give you your green card already. You could always do like another Irish resident did, Becky Lynch, and just marry a pro wrestler.
I would marry a pro wrestler. I'm sorry, but pro wrestler is actually my type. No, but legitness. Yeah, send me your offers and applicants, people listening. If you want to marry me for a green card, that'd be sick.
That's
thank
awesome.
you very much.
So, what is that all about? All these Americans obsessed with Irish. You know, people are obsessed with Conor McGregor. They're obsessed with Becky Lynch. They're just obsessed with all these Irish people. What is that all about? Is it just because you guys are super cool and don't give a fuck, or what is that?
It's because we're absolute legends. I don't know. I think it's like I live in London. And I lived at home first. I traveled back and forth to London there for 6 months, and it was lovely. And I just think that there's definitely a mentality and a way of life of Irish people that you don't really find anywhere else apart from Ireland.
That's awesome.
It's like the humor, the internal shame and guilt that you're given from religion. It's a good little balance that's got going on. But I don't know. I love it. Like, anytime I come out to the States, I think it's because a lot of people also have a lot of Irish heritage. Like, if I look at my own ancestry, there's more of my relatives now living in America and Canada than there is in Ireland itself. So
yes,
I feel like people just want to connect to their roots, and also just we're simple, you know?
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
I'm not complaining.
It is Janet Devlin. She's with us today here in our program. So you go from music, and then you also mentioned earlier, which I wanted to come back to, you do Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Okay, so how did this start? And I'm surprised you're not in the Olympics after you've done everything else.
I always was sporty as a kid. Like, I was always into running and things. And then, I don't know, I think, like, TV and the whole narrative of my life, like, people always looked at me and went, oh, she's so cute, she's so small, she's so vulnerable. And I was like, I'm actually really strong and I've been through a lot of stuff. And I don't know. I think as well, like, I had a past of eating disorders and things. And I found that Olympic weightlifting was one of these sports where you get to work out, but the focus isn't on being skinny or, like, looking a certain way. It's, like, not an aesthetic sport. It's just all about being faster and, like, lifting heavier. And I like that. I feel like it's very empowering. I don't feel like it tries to, like, shrink my femininity or anything like that. I just
awesome.
enjoy feeling strong, because I think for so long people tried to portray me as very weak and fragile. So it's kind of like me taking my own identity back through a sport.
That's great. So, what are some of your achievements through Olympic weightlifting?
Oh, well, I only really started doing it properly about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, then the world shut down. But, like, I was into running, and that's the thing. That was fine. It, like, kept me very, like, a beanpole, you know? And then I was like, why do I even want to be, like, a skinny gal? I don't even want to be a skinny gal. I want to be a strong gal. So then that's when I just, like, changed routes. I was like, I don't care how, like, physically I look. I just want to be able to, like, lift heavy stuff. And also what I learned was I got anger back recently, which was a new emotion I never had for my whole life, I swear to God. So whenever I got anger, I was like, how do we deal with this? How do regular people focus? So I learned that by listening to heavy music and chucking heavy things above my head, that makes me less of an angry person, and I need it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you know, I see these, I see a lot of these weightlifting people doing this clean and jerk thing. My God, that looks like a mess. Take us through this. How did you learn how to do this and not get injured?
So I don't know. I went to one-to-ones. That was a big thing for me. I was like, I don't want to get injured. You as much as you want to be able to teach yourself something like that on your own, you can't. You do need a coach. Yeah. So I went to a coach like 2 times a week at the start. No, my first week I ever did it, I did it for 4 times in my first week.
Wow.
Because I was like, I really don't want to mess this up. So I just gradually reduced it to go in to see him like once a week, and then being able to train on my own. And then I was also doing CrossFit along the side of that, which has, let's not talk about CrossFit right now. It's a very weird territory. But
those people are strange. Those CrossFit people are a whole nother group.
A whole other thing. So I did really enjoy CrossFit, but I didn't enjoy the fact that Olympic weightlifting was just chucked in there and you were expected to be good at it.
Yes.
So I wanted to ensure that I never would hurt myself. So I got a weightlifting coach to make sure that I wasn't doing it dumb whenever the coach had his back turned, you know?
That's good.
So yeah, I did both of those things hand in hand, and they were really good fun.
So you mentioned CrossFit. These CrossFit people, I don't understand some of these folks. I have been around CrossFit people, and they're like a whole nother, someone compared them to like their own religion at one point.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
really
if you don't do CrossFit, and they're always asking people if they do CrossFit, and
I think CrossFit in Ireland is definitely very different, because Irish people, we're not going to be bought into anything culty. We're already a part of like a big cult anyway. So like, I only have room for one cult in my life. Actually, it was sorry. So it was actually really chilled in Ireland. It was just like, occasionally it'd be like, who wants to go get a big breakfast? Who wants to go get some pizza after training? It was more just like chill than. But also there was the whole competitive element, but it wasn't like absorbing people's lives, if you know what I mean. Because
that too.
Like I see some people who get really like obsessive, but like at home for some reason people were able to like be competitive, enjoy the sport, but not be a nutter. I don't know.
Yes, you are completely correct on that. So with the Olympic weightlifting and everything that you're doing, how do you work that into your music?
How do I work that into my music? I think more so it's just I'm a very anxious person, and sometimes my anxiety stops me from doing things. But a lot of my anxiety comes from having far too much energy. I just have a surplus of energy, and that allows me more time and more energy to worry about things that will probably never even happen. Whereas if I take myself for like a big workout in the morning for like an hour and a half, and I tire myself out like a dog, my brain's too tired to think, oh, we can't do this thing, or we can't do that, or here's a million scenarios of how this can go wrong. It allows me just to write music without second guessing myself, because I'm almost too tired to ask myself those questions.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to play a couple of your songs when we get done here with you.
When we get done with you.
Your PR folks sent me over the entire album, which I'm going to play a couple songs. Which two are the ones that we should be playing that would give everybody kind of a good look at what you're capable of doing music-wise?
Oh my God, that is such a hard question. I'm gonna play two. I'm gonna choose two that haven't been played on the radio right now.
Okay.
But I love them, but they're like not radio singles. But sure, who cares? So I'm gonna say "Sweet Sacred Friend" and "Better Now."
Okay. Well, tell us about these songs.
So "Sweet Sacred Friend" is about me having to say goodbye to my best friend, booze, because I was an alcoholic for a long time, and I got sober at 20. And it was that realization that like alcohol was keeping me alive. It wasn't necessarily helping me live, but it kept me alive because it's something to get out of bed for every day. But it's that realization of like my best friend, this thing that took away all my ingrained social anxiety and all of my fear that I have within my being, is also the thing that is slowly killing me, and I have to say goodbye to it. So it's basically, saying goodbye to like a toxic friendship.
Wow. That's a hell of a deal. Why isn't that a radio single?
I don't even know, actually. But there's also like some
because that sounds
really
fantastic.
Sick. There's some sick low whistle, which is like an Irish whistle, and it's just like, mwah, it's gorgeous. Davey Spillane is playing it, and he kills it. So I love it.
That's awesome. So how do you get hooked up with some of the different musicians and different people that you've worked with over your time?
Well, the Irish ones were definitely word of mouth. You'll hear when you listen to the record, it's Irish pop. Like all of the riffs and all of the hooks that usually in pop music will be done by some sort of computer or guitar or something, are all done on like Celtic instruments. So it's still pop, but it's Irish. So I just heard through word of mouth by asking people at home, like, here, do you know a good fiddle player?
That's
And
awesome.
like getting them to send me loads of links and stuff to like different players and things. I knew I wanted Davy Spillane on it though, because I got him to play on a track I did years ago called Centre Mishguel, which is Gaelic for Whiskey Lullabies. And he did play on it and he killed it, and I love his playing so much. Like, he's an absolute Irish legend. So the fact that he was willing to work with me again was insane. We also had this guy called Brian Fleming on Bourne and Bones, an African drum, a very weird combination of percussion, but he killed it as well. Like, it was just so fun. Like, that's that thing, I guess. Like, Irish people in the studio, the best crack. Absolutely, hands down.
You are terribly entertaining. You definitely need to be doing like you said earlier. You did the singing, you did the YouTube, you did a TV show. I bet you and the powerlifting version of you are completely different people.
Oh yeah, no, it freaks people out when they see me weightlifting. They're like, I've never seen you angry before, but you look like you could mess me up. And I'm like, yeah. It's good. It's good having both sides, you know? It's fun.
That's great. So, what are some of your goals for this music that you've got?
So my initial goal was obviously just to, like, really selfishly get rid of my demons and just set them free into the world, because that understanding of, like, you know, you're freer from your sins when you confess them to another, but also anytime I've ever put music out, as soon as it's out, it's like not yours anymore. It belongs to anyone who wants to love it and put it as a part of their life. It's not yours. So I was like, oh, maybe if I do this with my problems, they won't be my problems anymore. And I can say that it works, because like they don't feel like my problems anymore. But I think now it's kind of different. So that was my initial goal, get rid of it. But I'm seeing now that a beautiful consequence has been that people relate to it. Every single day I cry at my direct messages from like people just sharing their stories with me and letting me know what they've been through and how much the album and stuff has helped them. Like, that wasn't the plan, because I'm selfish. But it's a beautiful, beautiful consequence.
That's fantastic. So, I guess before we get to the music, let's talk about your book.
Yeah.
You've got a little bit of everything going here. This is amazing. So, why did you decide to write a book?
I had to, because when I started writing the album, I wanted the album to be this overly honest piece. And then I wrote a few songs, like, you know, minus metaphor, just like straight open songs. And I was like, oh, this is self-indulgent. I don't like it. So I realized then I had to write more metaphorical songs. So I did. But then I was like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose here, Janet. That's not very honest. You're hiding behind all of this symbolism. So I'd always be told I needed to write a book through people who knew about my life. And I was like, okay, I got 6 months over. And I was like, okay, I can do it. I can write a book. It's fine. So I did. And it took like 2.5 years. But like, I have the attention span of a rodent, so I wasn't expecting it to happen overnight.
I have the attention span of a rodent.
Yeah, that's very
awesome.
true, though. But I did it, and it all married up well. The album and book were basically done around the same time, so both were ready to be sent off into the world.
So, what do you want folks to take away from your writing?
Well, I think writing is terrifying, because it is the closest thing you can get to somebody's internal monologue is their written work. So that's absolutely petrifying. But for me, like, I have been through a lot, and so far the consensus from people has just been that it's helped them. And like, I never obviously set out for that. I never went, I want this book to like help people. I want to be like an inspiration. You know, that wasn't the plan. again, happy consequence that people see it and they seem to feel less alone through things that they've been through. Or some sane people are like, if you can get out of bed and go through that crap that you were going through, that I can get out of bed and continue about my day. So that's been a beautiful consequence as well.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you making time for us today. This has definitely been fun. You have been fantastic, and I definitely want to do this again. And I guess before we let you go, how do people find you on social media, websites, get your music, get the book, everything?
Okay, so my website is very creatively named, janetdevlin.com. I know, genius. If there's a social media, you can guarantee I'm on it. Just search my name in and look for the blue tick. That's it. That's the jam.
That's it. Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for doing this, my friend. This has definitely been a fun piece of business. Thank you.
No, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you, my friend.
You too. Bye.
Janet Devlin has been with us, and we are going to go to Janet's music here in just a few moments. And you can get a hold of us online, JiggyJaguar.com. And also, she was perky. She was fantastic. She has accomplished more in her life than most people do their entire life. So it's a hell of a deal. So let's go to her first song here on the broadcast. It is called Better Now. It is Janet Devlin, and it's here on your world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast.
Bloodstained porcelain, crying on my own again. I'm better now. I'm better now. Once lost, never found. Thank God my thoughts don't make a sound. 'Cause I'm better now. But the truth won't come from empty lungs. But lies will come from everyone. Can you hear me now? I'm better now. Glass bones, paper skin, just goes within. I'm fading out. I'm fading out. Bruises on white. This is the spotlight going down. I'm fading out. But the truth won't come from empty lungs. But lies will come from everyone. Can you hear me now? I'm better now that all the world is moving on. And everything I've got is gone. Can you hear me now? I'm better now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me screaming? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me lying? But the truth won't come from empty lungs. But lies will come from everyone. Can you hear me now? I'm better now that all the world is moving on. And everything I've got is gone. Can you hear me now? I'm better now.
That is the fantastic Janet Devlin. And joins us today here on our big broadcast. So we are going to go to her next track. Sweet Sacred Friend. We got more coming up. That is Janet Devlin, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It is KJAG Radio.com. Coast to coast and border to border on